pull up your budget, the one you made on the first of the month. The clean one, the one with the nice round numbers, the one where groceries was going to be $400 and somehow it's the 20th and you've already spent 6. That budget is dead. It didn't die because you're lazy. It didn't die because you have no discipline. It died on schedule, right around the third week, the same way it dies for almost everybody who makes one. And here's the part nobody tells you. It was never going to survive. Not because of you. Because of how the thing was built in the first place. You didn't fail a budget this month. The budget failed a test it was always going to fail. Let me show you why. So there's this pattern. Finance writers have a name for it, sort of an unofficial one. They call it the week 3 collapse. You make the budget, you're fired up. The first week you're tracking every coffee, you feel like a machine. Week 2, still pretty good. Maybe you fudged one dinner out. And then somewhere in that third week, second half of the month, the whole thing just quietly falls apart. You stop logging, you stop checking. By the time the next paycheck lands, you're not running a budget anymore. You're just spending and hoping. Now, the title of this video says Day 18, and I want to be straight with you upfront because honesty is the whole game here. There is no study that says budgets die on day 18 exactly. Nobody has pinned it to a calendar date. Day 18 is my stand-in, a vivid little marker for that second half of the month window where the wheels come off. What is real, what is documented is the pattern itself. The collapse is real, the timing is fuzzy. And the reason it happens is the most interesting part because it's not about your willpower at all. Part 1. Let me take you back to where the monthly budget even comes from because this is where the whole problem is hiding. The monthly budget is an accounting habit. Businesses close their books once a month. Rent gets charged monthly. A lot of your bills get charged monthly. So somewhere along the line, the personal finance world decided your money should be planned monthly too. One big grid, 30 days. One number for groceries, one number for gas, one number for fun. Tidy. Looks great on a spreadsheet. Here's the problem with that grid. It does not match how money actually shows up in your life. You don't get paid once a month, most likely. Look at the actual data on this. The Bureau of Labor Statistics tracks how often American workers get paid, and the single most common pay schedule is every 2 weeks, bi-weekly, at 43% of private employers. Weekly is next at 27%. Twice a month is about 20%. And paid once a month, actual monthly pay, just over 10%. 10. So roughly 9 out of 10 American workers are paid more often than monthly, and about 7 in 10 are paid every 2 weeks or more often. Sit with that. The way nearly everybody actually receives money is in weekly or bi-weekly chunks. But the budget, the tool we hand people, runs on a monthly grid that only about 1 in 10 paychecks actually matches. We built the dashboard for a car that almost nobody drives. The mismatch isn't a bug you introduced. It was baked in before you ever opened the spreadsheet. Part 2. Now let's talk about how often this thing actually fails. Because the numbers here are not small and they're not the scary made up numbers you see in thumbnails either. I'm going to give you the real ones. A national survey by a well-known personal finance company run by a major polling firm back in 2023 asked Americans who keep a monthly budget a simple question. Have you ever gone over it? 84% said yes, 84. And separately in that same survey, 83% of Americans said they overspend at least sometimes. So this isn't a you problem. This is a 4 out of 5 people problem. The overwhelming majority of people who sit down and make a budget blow through it. And here's the beat that matters. The one that connects budgeting to the thing this whole series is about debt. Of the people who go over their monthly budget, 44% say they usually reach for a credit card to cover the extra spending. So watch the chain here. Monthly grid that doesn't match your paychecks leads to overspending in the back half of the month, leads to nearly half of those people putting the overage on a card, which is the exact moment a budgeting problem quietly turns into a debt problem. The budget didn't just fail, it handed you off to the credit card. And one more, because the trend matters too. For the first time in 8 years of one long-running annual budgeting survey, the share of Americans who budget regularly actually dropped from about 90% down to around 86. People aren't just blowing their budgets. Some of them are giving up on the whole exercise. And honestly, given how the tool is built, I get it. Before we go further, quick thing and then right back to it. I built a free money multiplier calculator for exactly this kind of run your own numbers moment. Plug in your actual pay and see how the math moves. Links below. Okay, on to the part that actually explains the collapse. Part 3 here is the mechanism, and this is the part I really want to land because once you see it, you can't unsee it. The week 3 collapse is not a willpower failure. It's a structural failure wearing a willpower costume. Think about what a monthly budget actually asks of you. It asks you to take one paycheck or two and mentally stretch the discipline across 30 whole days. 30 days is a long planning horizon. That's a long time to hold a number in your head, to keep saying no, to keep tracking every little thing. And here's what the behavior researchers and the honest finance writers both point to. Motivation is highest at the start. Day one, day two, you're sharp, you're committed. But that kind of active self-control drains over time. It's a tank, not a renewable source. By week three, the tank is low. You're tired of tracking. You've said no 11 times this week already. And the budget, which only works if you keep feeding it attention, stops getting fed. That's the collapse. It's not that you got weak. It's that you were asked to white knuckle a 30-day grid using a paychecks cycle that's only 14 days long, and no amount of motivation survives that gap forever. The structure set the trap. The willpower was always going to run out because the design demanded an unrealistic amount of it. So when people say just try harder next month, just be more disciplined, they're prescribing more of the exact thing that already failed. You don't fix a structural mismatch with a pep talk. You fix it by changing the structure. Part 4. So let's change the structure. Here's the actual fix, and it's almost annoyingly simple. Stop budgeting the month, budget the paycheck. When money hits your account, you plan that money, just that money, until the next money arrives. If you're paid every 2 weeks, your budget is a 2 week budget. 14 days. That's it. That's your whole horizon. Why does this work when the monthly grid doesn't? Because it matches reality. Your planning window and your pay window become the same length. You're no longer trying to stretch one decision across 30 days. You're making a small, fresh plan every time you get paid. And a 14-day plan is something your willpower can actually finish before it runs out of gas. You get a clean reset every payday instead of one long, slow motion failure. The collapse needs 3 weeks of fatigue to happen. A 2 week budget ends before week 3 even arrives. Second piece, build in one 5-minute mid-cycle check-in. Halfway between paychecks, you sit down for 5 minutes, no guilt, no big spreadsheet ceremony, and you just look. Where am I? Do I have enough to get to the next paycheck? That's the whole meeting. 5 minutes. That little check-in is what catches the overspend while you can still steer, instead of discovering it on day 25 when the money's already gone. And the third piece, the quiet hero, automate everything you possibly can. Every bill you put on auto pay, every transfer to savings you set to fire automatically the day after payday is a decision your future tired self does not have to make. Remember, willpower is the thing that runs out. So the less of your plan that depends on willpower, the more of it survives to week 3 and beyond. Shorter horizon, quick check-in, automation, that's it. None of it requires you to become a different, more disciplined person. Part 5. So here's my honest take, the real one. For years, the entire personal finance industry has sold you a story that goes, you have a budget, you broke it, therefore you have a discipline problem, therefore you need our app, our course, our system to fix your broken self. And I want to push back on that hard because it's mostly wrong and it's a little bit cruel. You don't have a discipline problem. You were handed a tool built on a monthly accounting cycle that maybe 1 in 10 of your paychecks actually matches. And then you got blamed when it didn't fit your life. That's like being sold shoes 2 sizes too small and being told you have a walking problem. Now, here's where I keep myself honest because I'm not going to flip it into we're all victims. And budgeting is a scam. It isn't. Budgeting works. Planning your money is one of the highest return things you will ever do with your time. The framework is sound. The default settings were just wrong. Monthly was the wrong unit. Willpower was the wrong fuel. Fix those two things. Shrink the horizon to match your paycheck and automate so you're not running on motivation. And budgeting goes from a thing you fail every month to a thing that quietly runs in the background and works. The contrarian part is real. Your budget didn't die because of you. But the grounded part is just as real. You can absolutely build one that lives. It just has to be built around how money actually moves through your life, not how a business closes its books. That's the whole secret. And it's not even a secret, it's just arithmetic. So if you take one thing from me today, take this. Stop trying to win the 30-day game. You were set up to lose it. Budget one paycheck at a time. Do one 5-minute check-in halfway through. Automate the boring stuff. And let the calendar stop being your enemy. Here's exactly how to start. Go run your real numbers, not the fantasy round ones. Your actual pay and your actual bills through the free money multiplier calculator I built. It's the link below, it costs nothing, and it'll show you what a paycheck size plan actually looks like for your situation. Do that first. And if you want the whole thing done for you, the templates, the 2 week structure, the mid-cycle check-in already laid out, so you're not building it from scratch. That's what the slime budget is. It's $17, links down there too. But start with the free calculator. Seriously, run your numbers, then decide. Because this was never about whether you're disciplined enough. It's about whether the tool fits your life. And once it does, this stuff stops being hard. Regular people, real wealth, no gatekeeping.